for the final time this football season before he goes into a 7-month hibernation. 6-month hibernation? 6 month.
Kicking the tires, lighting the fire.
7 months. Yeah, it'll be 7 months. It'll be 7. How are you?
I'm okay.
I'm so mad at you.
Stop. Let's not even go there.
I'm still mad at you. I am.
I know.
You should have been there.
I know.
Should have been there. Let's talk about the game itself and some historical perspective in this segment, and then we'll talk about the offseason, which has gotten pretty significant for LSU in a hurry. All right, so let's go to the game. Anything surprise you?
Oh, a couple things. I was surprised by how well they were able to put pressure on Joe in the first quarter, in the first half. I thought they did a very good job. They did not have a very good front three. So I was surprised to see them play above their ability in the first quarter. In fact, I thought that was, if you want to give any negative to LSU, I thought they underperformed in the first quarter, 20 minutes of the game in handling what Clemson was giving them. They figured it out.
They figured 600 yards and 42 points, bro.
628.
Figured it out.
628. They figured it out. I also thought that, there was a point going into the fourth quarter, like right at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, where you and I talked about this yesterday, but where I was like, are they going to give the ball to Clyde? I was like, wait a minute. Don't we have like one of the best running backs? I just said we.
Well, you did it again. Hey, but you're let off the hook because you're let off the hook because it was not an SEC game. It was SEC versus ACC, and as you've said many times, you love all of your children the same. So one of your children was going against the ACC.
Thank you.
And you're an LSU homer.
I thought that, I thought that we would see Clyde run a little bit more. Heading into the fourth quarter, did he even have 30 yards rushing? If he did, it was maybe 40. He maybe more than any other player other than Burrow was responsible for, sealing things and the defense, which really played on their heads. I listen to all these people all over the country when I go on these shows telling me, oh, Trevor Lawrence had a bad game. I'm like, Trevor Lawrence had a bad game because LSU's defense was pounding the crap out of him. Every time he did anything, there was an LSU guy who was smoothing him into the earth. That was introducing him to the meaning of the saying, dust to dust. You know what I mean? There was an LSU player that was saying, hello, my name is whatever. I'm going to be here all day. Get used to seeing me because I am going to be here all day.
Patrick Queen acquainted himself nicely with Trevor Lawrence.
Patrick is a man. Patrick Queen is a man. That guy, before the Oklahoma game, man, that guy is a man.
He was awesome. What about offensively for LSU?
Well, I thought 628 yards, 42. I thought, is it correct, the reports with Joe on the injury?
He said that he tore cartilage in his ribs. He told that to the Pardon My Take podcast yesterday morning.
That's remarkable. How many yards did he throw for in the second half? 300?
I just talked about that. He was in the second half, he was 15 of 21 for 197 and 2 touchdowns.
crazy.
With torn cartilage in his ribs.
Listen, I just got off the radio in Alabama, and they're like, "Do you think LSU will be able to keep this up next year?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is the greatest team in the history of college football. Nobody's going to keep this up 2 years in a row, man. They're still going to be good." In fact, we'll talk about Brady in the next segment, but LSU will still be good next year, because if Brady did anything, it was, pull back the veil for LSU and say, this is what you're supposed to do. And LSU's like, oh, wow. You throw the ball forward. That's amazing. And it's not a penalty? You can do this. Wow. I thought the penalty on 47...
The targeting.
Yeah. I'm sure you've talked about this. I really hope
no, not really. No.
It's interesting because it didn't change the outcome of the game. LSU had more talent. They were the more battle-tested team. They were the better team. They were winning, and they were going to win. But from the moment that happened, they were not going to be putting pressure on Burrow anymore. He was the catalyst to put the pressure. And, I think that we do not do enough to protect players in college football and all of football. And I am in favor of anything that helps to protect players. But we got to figure out, I know you've talked about this, having degrees of
it's
penalty.
Easy. Flagrant 1, flagrant 2, just like in basketball. It's easy. Targeting 1, targeting 2, it's easy.
You can't kick a kid out of a game. I know you're trying to change behavior, but you got to figure out a way not to kick these kids out of games, unless it's flagrant, like that hit on in the Oklahoma game. Against
the hit on Clyde, yeah.
Yeah,
that's easy. That's flagrant 1. He's out of the game.
Oh my God, that's so obvious.
Yeah, you're out.
Unless it's obvious, and then kick him out for the next game too. I don't have a problem with that. Send the message that way. That's how you send the message. If you kick the kid out, even if it's just for the quarter, or because you're trying to teach him, don't do that. Don't put your head down like that and spear. So you're out for the rest of this quarter and the next quarter. That's enough. You're trying to change behavior.
It's easy. Flagrant 1, flagrant 2. All right. So, but seriously, I don't think anybody here is talking about that targeting or officials at all. What I would like to ask you your opinion, though, and everybody sort of had opinion on this, is the historical context of this team. Is it too early yet to give the historical perspective?
No. Why is it too early? We saw the game, and we've got history. It's been behind us forever. The greatest team I've ever seen. Period. And, usually I'm of the belief it's very difficult, and it is, to compare one generation to the next generation, especially when you're talking about individual players. How do you compare a guy today to a guy who didn't even have antibiotics when he played? How do you compare that guy to that guy? Let alone, arthroscopic knee surgery and all these other things that will extend your career,
Like they did this thing at halftime where they honored the 10 greatest players in the history of college football. They had Red Grange. How the hell do you know if Red Grange was any good? Red Grange would be Red Grange couldn't even be the long snapper on LSU's team, with all respect to Blake Ferguson, who's phenomenal.
How about the fact that they didn't have anybody under the age of 50 on that stage? That was ridiculous.
Red Grange. Yeah. Reggie Bush or Red Grange. Line those two guys up on a wall and say, all right, who you taking? Give me Reggie Bush over Red Grange.
This is what I know.
I'm sure he was super rad, though.
This is what I know. Clemson played better in the first half against LSU than I expected. They forced LSU to punt how many times? 6 times? 7 times?
I'm sorry, say it again?
They forced LSU to
punt. Yeah, LSU punted 7 times.
7 times. I mean, they did well. And LSU still had 628 yards and 42 points and sat on 49, right? They had the Biletnikoff winner, the Heisman winner, the Thorpe winner, the coach of the year, the assistant coach of the year. They beat 5 top 8 teams that finished in the top 8. They beat 7 top 10 teams. They did it by 15-plus points per game on average. You had a quarterback who broke nearly every record. You beat Alabama's 31-game home record, which is the history in the SEC. That's the most consecutive home wins. You beat 5 preseason top 4 teams. Have you talked about what Kubelik said yesterday?
No.
You got to get about they beat the ACC.
Oh yeah,
champion,
yeah, I did. Yes.
12, I'm saying it again. They beat the ACC champion, the Big 12 champion, the SEC East champion, the Fiesta Bowl champion, the Orange Bowl champion, the Sugar Bowl champion, the Citrus Bowl champion, the Iron Bowl champion, the Alamo Bowl champion, and the Texas Bowl champion. Are you kidding me?
Watch out for that Texas Bowl, bro.
Listen, bro, it's still a champion.
Sort of.
All right? Miami the Miami 2001 team? I don't care what the kids did in the pros. I don't care. That's superfluous. That's a big word. Superfluous.
I like it.
It means it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they did in the NFL. That 2001 Miami team, which was very good.
They were awesome.
Very good. They nearly lost to BC.
True. And LSU's got a better quarterback.
Did LSU nearly lose to anybody? Don't say Auburn, because I watched that game 3 times, and there was never a moment where I thought LSU was going to lose.
No, the score on that one is not indicative of how it went. They were without 3rd and 17 against Texas. That's close. And then I would say the same situation when it was 3rd and 10 against Bama and Clyde took the screen pass 11 yards.
I said we again.
Because if
LSU
in either
was winning.
I know, but listen to me. But in either of those situations, neither team could get a stop late in the game. So if you had to punt, then you're giving them the ball with a chance to take the lead, and I think that would have been the closest. I'm just answering your question, but again, that speaks to how you never really felt like they were in danger.
The 2004 USC team.
Mm-hmm.
They beat 3 ranked teams.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Listen, so at that point, you're basically saying, well, if they'd had the chance to do what LSU did, maybe they would have done it too. Okay, well, guess what? LSU did it. So if I've got to compare what one group might have done with what one group did, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in the history of college football.
You're here. He's Russ Mitchell, College Football News. We got one segment left with Russ before he goes away for 7 months. Stick around. We will talk about LSU's offseason, which got into the action hot and heavy today. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Check them out, y'all.